Hello, hello. Welcome back to Let's Talk Ray Bradbury. Well, I just couldn't stay away. I was going to take a break after completing the 25 short stories in his 2002 collection, One More for the Road, last week. But I couldn't stay away. I needed some more Bradbury in my life, so I got myself a copy of his 1997 collection, Driving Blind. It's a used copy, ordered on Amazon Marketplace, but it's in pretty good shape for a book that, by all accounts, has probably been around for a couple of decades. A little bit of yellowing, a little bit of feathering on the dust jacket, but otherwise, pretty much a perfect book. I'm quite happy with spending $4 on that. But Driving Blind, as I said, came out in 1997. All the stories in it were new, never before published, save for 4 of them. But I don't think that I've read any of these stories, if I'm correct. Memory's getting a little bit fuzzy after 284 stories, but we shall see as we go along. So for today, we're going to check out the first story in the collection, which is Night Train to Babylon. If you're new to the channel, I am in fact trying to read and review, after locating, of course, each of the roughly 600 short stories written by Ray Bradbury. Today we're up to story number 285, and so in these reviews, what I like to do is offer a brief synopsis of what happens in the story, and then wrap up just a very light analysis of what I took away from the story. I mainly do this for my own entertainment, for my own amusement, and to sort of document this journey of attempting to read the complete body of work of Ray Bradbury. But on occasion, I'm happy to learn that you guys enjoy these reviews as well. So, James Caruso catches a night train out of Chicago during a storm. He's in the dining room and he hears sort of a loud ruckus going on at the bar, and there's a group of men standing around while a dealer deals 3-card monte, trying to bilk them out of money. Caruso is reminded of playing the same game at a birthday party at age 12, and apparently he didn't have a very good experience because he begins to showcase his sort of ill mood, and he sort of butts in and he accuses the dealer of bilking them, and he says, I know how you're doing it, and the Queen of Hearts is always on the left, and he even plays a few hands, and the sort of the dealer may or may not be letting him win, but he does pick the correct card on a number of occasions, and he at one point even accuses the conductor of sort of like, you're letting this guy cheat and then you're going to settle up later. But he butts in, and eventually, after one big hand, he's thrown off the train. And sort of to add insult to injury, the dealer throws a deck of cards. Oh, actually, I forgot one vital detail here. At some point, the dealer even lets him choose a new deck and the new cards for the game. But after all of that, he basically says, I don't know how you're doing it, but you're cheating. I can tell, I can feel it. But he gets thrown off the train, and the dealer sticks his head out the window or out the door and sort of throws the deck of cards at him. And lo and behold, there's actually multiple Queen of Hearts. So it looks like the odds are actually better, I would say, in favor of the players than it would normally be. Okay, so Driving Blind, this collection is not off to a good start. This is not a very good story. It does have Bradbury's sort of, easygoing, down-home, slightly poetic prose, which is always a saving grace. But here it's just window dressing for a story that doesn't quite work. It's one thing for a story's intentions to be a little bit vague, a little bit ambiguous, but you can't be so ambiguous that the reader doesn't really have much to sort of take away from the whole endeavor. On one hand, it's about gamblers having a good time. It's about the lead character being a bit of a buzzkill. There's a point also to be made about we as people sort of being able to sometimes identify cheaters and sort of having a sense for fraud, but not necessarily being able to prove it because the people conducting that fraud are very good. They're at the top of their game, which would be the case of these professional gamblers, I would assume. It does sort of call to mind one possible sort of point, which is it's sort of like when a fan or a critic watches a movie or reads a story, like I'm reading this story, and you have the ability to judge it, and you can sense for yourself that it's not good, that there's some sort of fraud going on, that it's not the best story, but you don't necessarily, because you're not the artist, you don't necessarily understand how the magic is made. And so, in sort of entertainment and art circles, there's always been this sort of animosity between critics and who are being critical and artists who feel that they're doing their best work. And I think this is a bit of a bit symbolic, I would say, of this story in itself and how I'm relating to this story. I don't want to be too harsh on it because there may be something that I'm not getting, but at the same time, I guess it is to some degree on the backs of the artist to put something together that is coherent, and this one's not quite coherent. So all in all, not a great little story here. The magic is not happening in this particular tale, but that's okay. We got 20 more to read in the next coming weeks. Next time, our story will be If MGM is Killed, Who Gets the Line, which I think is a pretty amusing title for movie fans. Bradbury, of course, was a massive movie fan. He often talks about, his early movie-going experiences when movies were so cheap to go to, and you could go to several a week and not break the bank. And then, of course, later in life, he actually wrote a number of screenplays. So this is obviously a topic that is near and dear to his heart, and it's near and dear to my heart because I'm, of course, a movie fan too. Movies are primarily what we talk about here on this channel. But if MGM is killed, who gets the line? Next time on Let's Talk Ray Bradbury. I'll see you later, and don't make any bad bets on gambling this weekend, right? Way too much gambling going on in the world these days as far as I'm concerned, because it's right here at your fingertips on your phone. So thank you, and I'll see you again.